Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com, along with the man they call Meathead, Dan Dragons behind the glass. I'm Frank Cosentino, and a special guest tonight. Joining us in the studio, the proprietor of Great Lakes Championship Wrestling is Mr. Dave Hero.
Good evening,
Gentlemen,
guys.
good morning.
Do you know how to?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good evening.
This isn't Fantasy Sports Weekly, Frank.
I'm getting that. I didn't say that.
Yeah.
That's just a little slip.
Yeah. Don't get hot. Don't get hot. All right.
And if you're hot, just say you're hot.
All right. We got the gimmick out of the way.
It's done.
Let's do
finished.
some wrestling, Frank.
Yes.
Let's set the table for you this evening. We are going to talk about what happened last night in Detroit with the Royal Rumble. Little controversy here and there, but we're going to go match by match. We're also going to talk about what just happened on Raw, which is a pretty odd ending. We'll talk about that. We'll also take your phone calls at 414-276-3776.
Frank, most importantly, what's going on in the chat-osphere? No, Damien, I can say chat-osphere.
That's right. 800-990-3776 are the phone numbers. The chat-osphere is open.
Thank you, Frank.
But before we get into all that,
Damien will love that on the replay.
Speaking of Damien, the reason why I'm behind the mic hosting, unfortunately, Damien had a death in the family. His grandmother passed away, so our thoughts and our prayers are with him.
Absolutely.
And the Damien Nelson family. So he will be back next week. We'll be a little bit different here tonight, but we'll try our best. Anyway, gentlemen, Royal Rumble last night. It's my favorite pay-per-view of the year.
Many people feel the same way.
Love the gimmick of Royal Rumble. Love the whole thing about it. Let's go through match by match. And also, again, please call. Chat-osphere is open.
Chat-osphere.
Again, 414-276-3776, 800-990-3776. Now, there was build-up to this thing, for the most part. And we talked about it last week as far as, being the Royal Rumble match itself, who do you think is going to take this thing? We're going to have a surprise somewhere, but who's going to take this thing? And the majority, the safe pick, was Randy Orton.
Especially after you punt the owner in the head.
Right.
Yeah.
The week up.
And the show starts off, the pay-per-view starts off with a package talk about the voices, air quotes, in your head.
So right off the bat, they show a Randy Orton package, and you think he's winning this thing.
They did not show Randy Orton's package, Frank. Wrong show.
Right. But, I mean, they
inappropriate.
They showed a video package.
Oh, a vignette.
Yeah. Did you think right away, guys, that it's Orton's night?
Absolutely.
Without a doubt. It has to be Randy Orton. They've been building him up for so long. He's the superstar of the company right now. Hands down.
Makes sense. So Detroit crowd gets going, and we start off with an ECW championship match with Jack Swagger taking on Matt Hardy.
Jack Swagger and his teeth.
The champion, Jack Swagger. Do you think there was enough build-up for this one?
There hasn't been enough Jack Swagger build-up, I don't think. You see him, okay, he's a big guy, he's got a good look, but, I'm not that impressed.
Yeah.
Not yet.
It's going to be a while.
It's going to be, as they say in the city, about a minute before Jack Swagger gets that street cred.
Mm-hmm. He's going to need more than some street cred,
Swagger wins this thing at about 10 minutes in, retains the ECW championship. I was wrong on that. I believe I did take Matt Hardy to win this thing. But, again, we know what kind of happened on later on with Matt Hardy.
So we don't yet because we're going to break it down. But
are you surprised by this a little bit that he retained it?
You know what? Jack Swagger's going to keep the belt for about a minute.
Another minute?
Yeah.
Matt Hardy's the kind of guy that doesn't need a belt. He's already over with the fans. They already love him. He sells a ton of merchandise.
Yeah.
Doesn't need any belt to be more popular in the company.
Good point. After that, we had the WWE Women's Championship. It was Melina versus Beth Phoenix. Obviously, Beth Phoenix was the champion going into it. A solid match from what I saw. It wasn't too bad for a women's match. I mean, for me, I like them short, sweet. Don't drag these things out.
Your women, you like short and sweet?
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. But
okay, so women, if you're listening, ladies, if you're listening, Frank likes them short and sweet.
That's right. Melina wins this thing. She becomes the new WWE Women's Champion. You called this correctly last week, if I remember correctly. Your thoughts on the match itself?
The match, it was what it was. Melina missed a couple spots in the match.
She always does.
Looked a little sloppy, but other than that, you know what? She's over with the fans, too.
But my question is, how does Melina roll up the Glamazon right in front of her boyfriend.
Right.
He does nothing to try to break up the pin.
Right.
Wasn't a big fan of that. Didn't make sense. But, hopefully now, WrestleMania, coming up, and, there is another diva coming into the SmackDown or Raw brand soon, and maybe they're setting up a Melina Gail Kim match down the road.
That could very well happen.
Mm-hmm.
414-276-3776, 800-990-3776. We are breaking down last night's Royal Rumble. Forgot to mention, scheduled to join us on the program at the bottom of the hour from Ring of Honor, Austin Aries. He is scheduled to join, talk about some big news with Ring of Honor and ROH now. They call them. You made it when you start abbreviating your
my license plates say MH on them.
They do?
Yeah.
Well, and also Ring of Honor ROH had a big role in the movie The Wrestler as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Many wrestlers from that organization. After the women's match, Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler introduced the Raw main event of JBL, John Cena, and HBK. This whole thing has been building, and I mentioned a few weeks ago, I like this thing because it's different. And I think only HBK is the only one that can pull this off as far as all the wrestlers that are involved. Of course, we know it's not, he's got plenty of money. I think he's fine there.
He has more money, yeah. Plenty of it.
But what do you think, Dave? Do you like this thing? Does it make sense? Does it bother you?
I mean, for me, honestly, it's just another way of keeping Shawn Michaels, JBL, and John Cena in the main events. Shawn Michaels could go and work with somebody else and help elevate, but once again, he's stuck in the main events of Raw. And they could have picked somebody else. They could have gone with, a William Regal or even a CM Punk.
Yeah.
That would have made a little bit more sense. But anyone that's been following wrestling for the last, even 5 years, where Shawn Michaels has been in for at least 20 years, he's made a ton of money. There's no way he would be broke or whatnot. But, it's all about the politics game. And, sure, we'll watch John Cena versus Shawn Michaels for the 500th time again. And we'll see John Cena versus JBL for the, 501st time again. And, that's what they're going to give us. So I guess we got to find some fun in it somewhere. And I guess if you want to pretend that Shawn Michaels is broke and he's JBL, well, then I guess that's what it is.
There you go. Let's head to the phones and go to Ontario. And Ruben, you're on Pro Wrestling Report, 540 ESPN.
Hi, everyone. Especially you, Meathead.
Hey. What's up, Ruben? Ruben is welcome. For those that don't know, and Dave Hero especially, Ruben is welcome back on the program now because being from, where is he from again, Frank? Ontario. Did not know the Prime Minister of Canada. And he was barred from coming on until he told us who the Prime Minister of Canada was. So now he's welcome on the show.
So we got a guy named Ruben and a meathead on the same show.
Yeah. Hey, later on in the show we'll have a guy called named Curryhead. So
That's awesome.
What's on your mind, Ruben?
Well, anyway, I did manage to see the Royal Rumble. I bought it. I thought it was an entertaining pay-per-view.
Did you get it in high def?
Yes, I did.
Awesome.
Right.
No less.
Let me ask you this question. Sorry to interrupt you, but did everybody last night look a little orange, like they were using the fake tan?
Well, Orton did.
Yeah. But I mean,
Triple H.
Yeah, those guys. We were talking about it off air before we started the show, and it looked like everybody was using a little fake tan. They looked a little orange to me last night.
All right, Ruben, what did you think of Royal Rumble last night?
I thought it was pretty entertaining. Pretty much kind of like how I felt about TNA Genesis. It kind of left you some surprises, kind of, left you with some predictability. But, I mean, it was a good start for the year for both companies. And I kind of, something in my head, but for some reason I'm thinking at WrestleMania it's going to be Randy Orton versus Triple H for the World Heavyweight title.
Based on what you saw last night, you're thinking that's going to happen?
Well, I think because storyline reasons, it's the whole McMahon punt, the legacy. I mean, John Cena the guy doesn't really fit into that storyline. And who else other than Vince, would challenge Randy Orton, for revenge?
All right.
And that'll be Triple H. And many people are saying, well, he's a SmackDown right now, but, this could possibly demonstrate how much power he has.
If you send Raw's biggest star over to SmackDown and beat their champion, it just elevates Raw even more and buries SmackDown. I just don't see that happening. Maybe?
The only way I could have saw it happening is maybe if Triple H won the Rumble and came back over to Raw, but that was going to be almost unlikely as well.
And plus, Triple H has to still beat Edge to be the champion.
Correct.
So
I'm not sure it's going to happen. There's really got to be a lot going on in a very short amount of time.
That's true. Also, I also had another one that could be more reasonable. Matt Hardy and Edge versus Christian and Jeff Hardy. That could be.
Christian is still not. I mean, we talk about this every week, and Damian will go ahead and tell people Christian is in WWE. It's just a matter of time. Christian is not confirmed to be in WWE until the man shows up on the TV screen.
Christian is signed, sealed, and delivered.
Okay. Well, I mean, according to Dave Hero and Damian Nelson now, but until I see the man on TV, because, Tyson Tomko or whatever he was running by was over. And he, wrestled one dark match, and he was never there. He's gone now again. And I understand what happened, but what I'm saying is when we see him, that's when we'll see him.
Ruben, thanks a lot for the phone call.
He may be held off until after WrestleMania.
Hey, they've had Gail Kim signed since September.
I know. Don't get hot.
I'm not hot. I'm just, pointing out the facts here,
414-276-3776. You're outside Milwaukee, 800-990-3776. Let's continue on the phones in Waukesha. We've got Terry. Terry, you're on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Gentlemen, how's it going this evening?
Pretty good, Terry.
It's okay. It's going.
Pretty good. Some thoughts about last night's Royal Rumble. Have to say it was probably one of the better pay-per-views they've put on. I was really impressed with a lot of the matches. The Edge match with the Matt Hardy swerve, I never saw coming, which I liked. That was a great angle. The surprise appearance of Rob Van Dam, even though it was only for one night, was pretty cool. The ending of the Royal Rumble, I think they probably could have gone longer, stretched out, made it a little bit more dramatic. But as I pointed out last week on the show, Randy Orton was going to win, and he did. Couple things that I've been finding out through cruising the internet today. I'm going to leave the big one for you guys, but I'll just put out a couple of things that I've seen. A new guy to watch in ROH coming up now is a big guy from Pro Wrestling Noah called Bison Smith.
Okay.
He should be giving Nigel McGuinness a run for his money sooner or later. Dos Caros Jr., who was supposed to sign with the WWE, has now gone back to Mexico and not signing with WWE. The other thing I found out is Scotty Goldman, or a.k.a. Colt Cabana, is probably not going to be long for the WWE world because they don't think he's got the look or the image. And my thing to Colt is, Colt, go back to ROH, man, and, apply your craft there. You had a lot better shot there than you have in the big time. So that's all my thoughts, guys. I'm going to hang up and listen to you guys. Dave, it's nice hearing you again. And, guys, hope you have a great show. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Terry.
Thanks, Terry.
Thanks for the information.
Bison Smith.
Interesting stuff, those names. I know Colt Cabanas. Those are guys that have tons of potential.
I've seen a very good match back in the day. I believe it was Colt Cabana versus CM Punk in an hour-long Iron Man match. Am I right, Frank? Does that sound about right?
That was a Ring of Honor show in Chicago. I think that was Punk or Cabana's last match before one of the two got signed. But
yeah,
Colt Cabana was originally signed by Mike Bucci, who was Nova, and obviously Nova was not very popular in the offices in Stamford, Connecticut right now, and Colt is considered one of Nova's boys, so who knows, what goes on there. I mean, Colt is really talented. He's a funny guy, funny ha-ha kind of wrestler as well. He just, right now there's a glass ceiling on both shows.
Yeah.
So until, you don't want to say it, but unless there's a few injuries or some other guys are gone for a little bit, it'll be a while.
Also, look at the list of talent they have. I mean, WWE, for example, has to be 100 deep, at least. I mean, if you're talking all of Raw, all of SmackDown, all of ECW, and the people that they're holding on to in FCW, that's got to be 100 deep.
Easily. Did you see the number of the number of guys that have participated in the Royal Rumble since the beginning?
Yeah.
698. That's amazing.
Well, it was 699, but Frank Cosentino said because he was never under contract, it didn't count.
That was Drew Carey. That wasn't Frank.
They look the same to me. Drew Carey, Dilbert, Frank Cosentino, same thing.
Oh, all built in the same mold. Continue on the phones in Memphis. Let's talk to Curryhead. Curryhead, you're on Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. How you doing, man?
How you doing, Frank? How you doing today?
I'm doing all right.
How you doing, meathead?
I'm doing good. Say hello to Dave Hero.
How you doing, Mr. Hero? Man?
I'm doing good, Curry. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine, man. I'm doing fine. I gotta say this. I loved the Royal Rumble last night.
All right.
Gotta give credit. Finally, it took them a while, even though it is one of your major 4 pay-per-views. And I gotta say this. You can always say this, that the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, even SummerSlam. Now, Survivor Series has been off for the past 4 or 5 years. But the Royal Rumble should be your biggest first quarter pay-per-view of the year. It should begin all the storylines. I like how they do it.
Yeah.
Are they going to have a Edge and Matt Hardy versus Jeff Hardy, Christian tag team match somewhere? I don't know. I might enjoy that.
Yeah.
That's something different.
Again, we're all jumping a gun on this Christian thing. I mean,
Yeah,
you
I
guys
know,
to
but
get
it's
overexcited.
But I
Nothing wrong
think
with
about it
being
like
excited.
this. I'm excited because I like Christian. Christian is was the biggest mistake that Vince McMahon has ever made.
Well,
And
it's not that Vince made a mistake. It's just that Christian felt he wasn't getting where he wanted to get in WWE, and he jumped.
And everybody's asked whose fault was that for not giving him the opportunity to go ahead.
You can blame it on Stephanie. You can blame it on John Laurinaitis. You could
Hold
blame
on. But
Michael P.S. Haynes. You can blame it on
all
any
those.
of those guys.
Hold on, me here. You can blame all those people, but But when it comes down to who's in charge, who makes the final decision?
Linda. I'm just messing with you. Keep going.
You know, I know that, me here. But I got to say this. I like what Randy Orton did today. That was the most greatest prick heel promo that he has ever did in my life. When he come out with the 2 lawyers, or was it 2 lawyers and a therapist, or was it 2 therapists and a lawyer? I don't care.
That sounds like a bad bar joke.
It was I know it sounds like a bad bar joke, but it was genius. Come out with them, threatening to sue everybody, has everybody looking. I say, whoever wrote that promo, whoever thought of that promo, is a genius.
Dean Malenko wrote that, by the way.
You kidding?
No.
Of course I'm kidding.
I know.
All right, Curry, thanks a lot for your input. We'll talk to you next week, all right?
All right, man. And Mr. Hero.
Yes, sir.
I got something hooked up for you, man. I'm going to bring something for you and that's going to be special.
Oh, hey, one more thing. Curry, we let you go, I got to let you know I had a dream last week. For some reason, I was dreaming about keeping my pin pan strong. And it made me think of my man Curry. I had from Memphis, Tennessee, how I keep the pin pan strong.
You got to make sure it's on the right-hand side. You got to be on the right-hand side.
All right.
And make sure you put you spread your fingers out when you snap.
That's right. Stay safe on Beale Street, all right, man?
I always do, baby.
All right,
thanks, Curry.
Curry, man. Let's quickly get these calls before we head to break and talk to Anthony in Helmar. Anthony, you're on Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Pretty good.
What's up, Anthony?
Where's Helmar?
In California.
California. All right.
I didn't see the Rumble, but from what I heard, was a good pay-per-view. And the whole swerve with Matt Hardy was he was like probably the second pick for people to think who was going to be screwing Jeff Hardy if Christian wasn't going to do it. Am I correct?
Yeah. I mean,
I would say so.
Somebody had to officially, end all this Jeff Hardy mishap thing that was going on.
You know, when the babyface comes down to the ring with the chair, something's going to happen,
But they can do a whole swerve here. They can say that Matt Hardy was upset at Jeff's been getting the most attention and all this. But you can say, but I wasn't the one who was doing all the accidents and doing all this stuff to you, Jeff. It was my, partner in crime or something like that.
No, I'm pretty sure they're going to try to build up a Jeff versus Matt Hardy TLC match at WrestleMania.
Yeah, but they can bring in Christian if Christian was going to WWE, the big if.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And somehow, for whatever reason, have Edge somewhat side with Jeff Hardy and make it like Edge and Jeff versus Matt and Christian. If that was to happen. Long shot, I know.
Hey, anything can happen.
Put it this way: when Christian does come back, he's gonna have a little bit of hell to pay for leaving the first time. So don't expect a whole lot of Christian for the first month or two.
In other words, he's going to have to eat his crap in.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a. Yeah.
There's a bunch of receipts that need to be collected.
There's a big welcome back party waiting for him.
Yeah, a pillow party, as they used to say in the old lockdown.
All right, Anthony, thanks a lot for calling, man.
Dave, you look uncomfortable. Have you been a part of a pillow party?
No. Just I'm just surprised by your knowledge of all that stuff. It's kind of
I watch HBO.
Okay.
Before the break, let's go to Milwaukee and speak to Damon. Damon, you're on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Hi.
Hey, Damon.
By the way, listeners, this is Damon, not Damien. Go ahead, Damon.
Hello.
Go,
Damon.
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going?
Hey, what's
good,
up?
man.
What do you want to talk about?
I just want to give you guys my opinions from last night's Royal Rumble.
All right.
Okay.
In my opinion, it was a good pay-per-view. I was somewhat shocked that Christian didn't come back, but I wasn't surprised that Matt Hardy screwed Jeff, because obviously I heard that he's supposed to have like a jealousy feud with him, so I wasn't surprised about that. And in the World Heavyweight Championship match, Shawn Michaels, he just two picture-perfect Sweet Chin music. I loved it. And I loved it that John Cena was able to retain my title. My boy retained his title because my dream match for WrestleMania is still alive, because obviously Randy Orton won the Royal Rumble. Even though he eliminated my boy Triple H, who was my first pick, but Randy Orton was my second pick, so I didn't mind.
Hey, let me ask you this. Are you a member of C Nation? Are you in the Cena Nation? Yeah.
I'm in the Cena Nation, the DX Nation. I'm everywhere, dog.
Okay. So overall, you enjoyed the pay-per-view? Overall, you enjoyed the pay-per-view?
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to WrestleMania. We're on the road to WrestleMania, baby.
You going?
So.
Are you going?
I'm having a party for it. So.
Okay. Well, I'll make sure to get that address off air, and I'll be over there in a couple of days. No, I'm just kidding. Anything else you got, Damon?
No, he's gone. We got to head to break. Damon, thanks a lot for the phone call. We come back. Scheduled to join us from Ring of Honor is Austin Aries, and we'll take your phone calls as we're talking about the Royal Rumble the rest of the evening. You are listening to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Get in the ring Monday nights after Raw. It's the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. And they call Meathead, Dave Hero, Frank Cosentino. Dan Dragon's behind the glass doing a fantastic job. That first half hour.
Yeah.
We talked Royal Rumble. We're going to switch gears just a little bit.
Hey, Frank, I want to run down this press release real quick. HDNet announces partnerships with Ring of Honor. On January 26th, they announced today that a long-term partnership with Ring of Honor Wrestling. Coming soon, HDNet will debut a new weekly television series which will bring Ring of Honor Wrestling to a national television audience for the very first time. Ring of Honor Wrestling and its stars are prominently featured in the recent critically acclaimed movie The Wrestler starring Mickey Rourke. So, looks like HDNet and ROH are in the house. And, Frank, who do we got on the phone?
Talking about that and much, much more. Hey, it's Milwaukee's own. It's Austin Aries from the Ring of Honor. Austin, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
We're doing pretty good. How you doing on this, well, I don't know where you are at the moment.
Frigid.
It's frigid here in Milwaukee.
Hello to everyone in the studio there. Hello to Meat Pie, Dick Dragon behind there doing a good job. I want to say hello down in Milwaukee, my hometown. I hope you guys are all having some beers.
Yeah,
that's what we're
absolutely.
good at.
And we're keeping warm, just like you know.
All right.
Well, believe it or not, Austin, there are some wrestling fans here that would like to know how you got your start in professional wrestling, if you want to educate some of those fans.
You know, I actually don't believe that.
There's one or two. There's always one or two new guys.
The new guys, huh?
Yeah.
They could probably go on Wikipedia and read all about it.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
I got my start up in Minneapolis in the garage of the legendary Terry Fox, not the one-legged Canadian marathon runner, but the janitor turned trainer of champions, along with Eddie Sharkey, a name that many people are familiar with in the annals of wrestling history.
Okay. Your stay in Ring of Honor now, obviously you guys have gone across the globe and have actually, had many, many matches across the pond. Where would you like to have your matches? Do you like wrestling around here in the States, or do you actually like going abroad and maybe wrestling I don't know, in England, going over to, London,
I
going over to.
love going abroad.
Okay, well, I was setting you up. I don't know if you noticed that. I was trying to set you up there to say abroad.
I don't need your help, but thank you. No, I do love traveling. It's great because every time I leave the United States and I travel abroad to other countries, it just really opens your eyes to see what a bunch of self-absorbed, self-righteous people that we have here in the United States who are so easily entertained and amused by the misery and pain of others. And I don't know, and just traveling around, seeing different cultures, meeting different kinds of people, different kinds of women, different kind of way of life is very appealing to me.
Let's talk a little bit about Ring of Honor. You're getting around, obviously, in the States and making headway in professional wrestling, but for those that haven't been to a Ring of Honor show, what should a wrestling fan expect when they go see you guys perform?
They should expect excitement. They should expect passion. You got a collection of guys in the locker room that really are passionate and love what they do. They go out there each and every night and they give 110%. They put their bodies on the line for the entertainment of the fans. So the fans can bang the guardrails and say, "Oh my God, holy and all that good stuff."
We were talking.
You're not going to get a lot of fluff. You're not going to get a lot of filler. You're going to get action. You're going to get no nonsense, no BS. And that's what the people like to see.
We're talking with Austin Aries from Ring of Honor, Milwaukee's own Austin Aries. I'm going to ask you, have you seen The Wrestler?
I actually haven't seen The Wrestler. I was a little upset, even though I'm in the credits through editing. My parts were cut out.
Oh.
I had a prominent role in that movie, and I think I was just a little too cutting edge, and I don't think they could handle it, so they had to edit me out. So I've actually boycotted it. I know I've seen enough of it. I was there when it was being filmed. But let's be honest. I think Mickey Rourke, the guy, was picking my brain the whole time. He was asking me, did I do this line right, that line right? My fingerprints all over that movie, even if I'm not technically in it.
So when the DVD release comes out, that extra 14, 15 minutes, we'll be able to see you there.
We'll see. We're negotiating the terms of that right now, but I don't think they want to show me the money I deserve, so maybe it won't be.
All right.
We'll have to see. Hey, ROH coming back to Chicago Ridge right up here in the area again, January 31st.
Correct.
Yeah, want to talk about the card?
The card?
Yeah.
It's going to be spectacular. Like it always is. Chicago is one of our best venues, bar none. It's, New York on the East Coast, Chicago Ridge. Hey, Milwaukee, we gave you a shot. You didn't come through. Minneapolis on that. We gave them a shot. They didn't come through. Chicago Ridge, usually got that place packed. It's rocking. We got a pay-per-view taping, and we never let people down there. So we got a little steel cage warfare going on. We got Sweet and Sour, Larry Sweeney's group. He hasn't quite named who's going to be in that cage for him yet. He's playing a little mind games as far as that goes, taking on Brent Albright, Roderick Strong, Eric Stevens. They got a mystery partner, too. So, it's going to be very unpredictable, but there's been a lot of hatred brewing there. My match hasn't exactly been determined yet. Tyler Black's trying to get his hands on me and Jimmy Jacobs. He's trying to set the rules, but what he doesn't realize is he doesn't set the rules. We set the rules. So we'll see exactly what's going to go down next Saturday night in Chicago.
Is that, I guess, your main nemesis right now?
My main nemesis right now is any one of these little popcorn, candy, these little, these pretty boys coming out in the fans, clapping, adulating. These guys chanting their names because they're the new flavor of the month. These fans aren't paying any respect to the guys that have been there, for years, busting their ass. They want to jump on whatever's new and hot and fresh, and Tyler Black thinks that, he's something new, thinks he's something special. He's just like everybody else that came before him, and you're going to find that out the hard way.
All right, we're talking again with Austin Aries of Ring of Honor. It's coming to Chicago Ridge next Saturday. You got any words? Nigel McGuinness has been on this program. You got any words for him?
I can respect Nigel McGuinness because Nigel McGuinness has taken one of the most prestigious belts in all wrestling, the ROH World Championship. He's held it for over a year. Now, myself as a former ROH World Champion who traveled the world with that belt to give it that world title status, I know what it takes to go in, night out with the microscope on you, having to perform at a level that very few guys can do.
Hey, how do you feel that a lot of people actually say that the Ring of Honor world title is a true world title, unlike, your titles that are defended here in the States. You actually have, like you just said, gone across the pond. You've gone, from, coast to coast and defended that belt.
I tell you, exactly. I had big Samoan shoes to fill. So I decided I was going to carve my own niche. I took it to Austria. I took it to Switzerland. I took it to Mexico. I took it to Canada. And I made it a world title.
Yeah.
And that's the imprint that I left on the ROH belt. People like to dismiss it quickly because it ain't fresh and it ain't new anymore. But those are the facts.
All right, Austin, last question for you. Obviously you got fans here in Milwaukee. We want them to come down to Chicago. What would you tell them to get them down there?
What should I tell them to get them down there?
Yeah.
Well, I know wrestling fans. And I know that on a Saturday night they ain't got a whole lot to do. They're probably going to sit home, watch the reruns, Family Guy, maybe watch the Bucks lose. What I'd say hop in your car, take the family if you got some, take friends if you can scrounge some up. And for the best bang for your buck, you travel down the Chicago Ridge and you see 3 hours of action like you're not going to see anywhere else. And if you're a true fan of pro wrestling, and if you're even looking for some good old family entertainment, then that's the place you got to be.
All right, Austin, thanks a lot for your time, man. Good luck in Chicago and the rest of your pro wrestling career.
Hey, man, luckily for me, I've got skills, so I don't need a whole lot of luck.
All right, brother.
Austin Aries, thanks a lot, man.
All right,
have a good
guys.
night.
You have a good night.
Austin Aries, Ring of Honor, Chicago Ridge next Saturday. And, again, if you haven't been to a show, it's different. They try to be as different as possible, putting up against the TNAs and the WWEs.
People have said that they are the ECW of this, this decade, I guess, because they're out there working, working it off day after day after day, and it's, they have pure wrestling going on there. I mean, they have a pure wrestling title, so I mean, they really get it going.
And of course, we have Nigel McGuinness on this program before, so Ring of Honor if you can get down there, it's worth the $1 or $2, whatever the ticket prices are. Stop. 414-276-3776, 800-990-3776 are the phone numbers. Before the interview with Austin, we were talking about last night's Royal Rumble. You're on the Chat-osphere.
Chat-osphere. I'm in the Chat-osphere.
What are some people saying?
The Rumble? Well, right now they were talking about the wrap-up of the interview. But as far as the Rumble, a lot of people obviously predicted Christian to win the Rumble. Or, excuse me, not Christian, but Randy Orton.
Christian hasn't signed yet. What are you talking about?
As I was saying, welcome back, Dave Hero, proprietor, if you will, of Great Lakes Championship Wrestling. As I was saying, people were predicting Randy Orton to go ahead and win the Rumble, and Christian was going to screw this, or Christian was going to be in the Rumble at number 27 because that's the magic number. Everybody comes in, and I actually didn't like the Rumble. I don't know about you guys, but I thought it was kind of an ass pay-per-view. I fell asleep during it. I told you that before the show, Dave. I fell asleep during the pay-per-view.
Let's continue with the matches here before we go to break. We did have the World Heavyweight Championship between John Cena, the champion, against JBL, and HBK had a big deal in this match, as expected, obviously. And it ends up with Cena winning and keeping the championship.
Correct.
But, what are your thoughts with
JBL
involvement in
here's it's not the HBK thing that I'm completely worried about. The match was between Cena and JBL. And, you can't believe this unless you actually see it, but Cena carried that match. Cena carried JBL because JBL is just rough and he's just, almost clod-like.
He's a shell of his former self.
He absolutely is. And you know what? On the microphone, the man is still sharp as a tack. But when it comes to working in the ring, JBL is not who he used to be.
That's why he's got Shawn Michaels watching his back.
Yeah, I guess. Well, thank you, Dave. I don't want you to break kayfabe or whatever those terms are.
Mm-hmm. When we come back, we'll talk about Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy. There's a big "We Want Christian" chant that happened also last night, but obviously he did show up.
You know what we should do, Frank? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know what we should do? We should post a video just like we did for No Mercy of 07 and have everybody blast us because Jericho didn't show up to that pay-per-view. Yeah.
Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, ESPNMilwaukee.com. Still got time for you to call in, talk about Royal Rumble last night at 414-276-3776. If you're outside Milwaukee, all over the world, 800-990-3776. And on the chat, Osphere. There you go. That's blowing up there, isn't it?
It's blowed up.
All right.
Just like me in a wrestling match after 30 seconds. I'm all blowed up.
Yes, especially when a 650-pound haystack's
Oh,
off.
Dave, my favorite picture at my house is me, and actually it's my back crack, and I'm doing visuals for Dave and Frank and Dragon here, but at my back crack, and my eyes rolling in the back of my head, and that's during the splash that Haystacks gave me. Now,
you were terrified, weren't you?
Absolutely. I don't mean to break it for you, but actually my back cracked. That's what it was. I was like, oh. And then flying out of the ring, he goes, are you ready? I said, oh, yeah. And I jumped out of there. I don't know what made me do it. I'm afraid of heights. But Meathead, put a show on, and he jumped right out of there.
Hey, when a guy that's almost 7 feet tall and 650 pounds is launching you, you better go over the top.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Yeah. There you go. Let's head to the phones and start in New York. Talk to Elliot. Elliot, you're on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, good evening, guys.
What up, Elliot?
Hey, I got two things to say. One, I hate to be the guy that points this out, but hasn't it been all over the place with WWE this year with the pay-per-views and just shows? Like, title reigns are no longer than 3 days, basically, and champions are all over the place, and storylines end within a week or two, and not enough build-up, and it's not making no sense. And don't you think they should go back to, like, each brand gets their own set of pay-per-views?
You're not wrong for bringing that up.
And you're not in the – a lot of people agree with you.
Yeah, you're not in the minority on this either. WWE, as Dave will tell you, likes to hot shot a lot of things.
It's all about the hot shot.
Yeah, or the money shot. But they like to hot shot a lot of things. Dave's uncomfortable again. I'm sorry,
No.
Dave.
No, I mean,
but you're right.
But here's the thing. I mean, if you separate the brands again and you give SmackDown their own and Raw their own, and you're still paying full price, but you're only getting half the talent, everyone's not going to buy every pay-per-view, right?
Well, that's not true, because then you have a chance to build superstars that are just laying around, and you get to make people that are just laying around. You can rebuild MVP. When Kennedy comes back with his buzz, you can make him even bigger. You can make superstars like they did with John Cena and the Batistas and Ortons when they were separate brands. You can make superstars, and especially with ECW going to each brand just competing, it boosts it up.
Right. I do agree. I do agree with separating the brands. I've been one for the last how many years, Frank and Dave, that has said brands colliding. I want separate pay-per-views and I want separate brands. Now I actually agree and disagree. I do want separate brands, and I don't want the brands to interact with each other. I just want, you can give me the pay-per-view with all the talent on it, but I want separate brands. Now, you've got a team like Miz and Morrison. They're on every show every week. And I understand why. I mean, you could see when they're, on TV why they're on every show.
And they're the only tag team worth watching.
Yeah.
They're the Edge Christian of today.
Yeah. Or the Hardys, or, whatever. I actually enjoy Crime Time.
The problem is not every market gets the My Network.
Correct.
So you can't build a SmackDown pay-per-view in only 3/4 of the country or half the country.
You're right. But that's not, I guess WWE maybe should think about how they're doing.
Elliot,
maybe they should offer SmackDown.
Elliot, I got a question for you.
Elliot's gone.
Oh, okay.
Maybe they should offer SmackDown, like they do with ECW on .com.
Okay, but now look.
Elliot, thank you for the phone call, by the way.
Here's my theory. What was it? What was the match where they had Brian Kendrick and Jeff Hardy and Edge and MVP?
Scramble.
Yeah, the Scramble. So would you pay to watch the Brian Kendrick in a main event match?
I wouldn't pay to watch the Brian Kendrick when he was tagging up with Paul London. I didn't buy that tag team.
But
Spanky didn't.
But that's what happens when you have each TV show with their own pay-per-view.
Correct. To be honest, I don't pay for WWE pay-per-views.
Well, because you got the hookup box.
No. I guess, and I want to, Frank, before we go to the next caller, I want to throw out to the chat, Osphere, I'm going to say something along the lines of what Age of Orton has said in there. They will not go to single pay-per-views because ECW 2nd December to Dismember. Horrible.
Oh, it's brutal.
Yeah. Right. That's why there's not separate pay-per-views.
And it's cheaper to have everyone at one pay-per-view.
I understand the business aspect of it. I get that, where you But then again, they're paying talents to consistently go to each show.
And you know what? You can build up a guy like a Ken Kennedy or an MVP, and you know what's going to happen? They're going to run into the roadblock called Triple H, and Triple H is going to knock him right down. So,
good point. Let's continue on the phones in Heartland and talk to Steve. Steve, you're on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Pretty good, Steve.
3 quick things. Number one, with the Royal Rumble, I would say if anybody out there wants to make it really, really entertaining, because you kind of know sort of who's going to win it, draw out numbers, 1 through 30, have a few buddies or whatever for entertainment purposes.
Yes.
And like last night, I was at BW3s, and we drew out, 5 numbers each. I was with 5 other guys, and it kind of makes it a little bit more fun. You're cheering for like a Finley or a Mark Henry, or you don't have
play
a chance.
For a couple extra.
And again,
wings.
you know what? The Rumble is
fun.
The greatest match of the year.
Oh yeah,
I think it
far.
is. Now the pay-per-view is probably the best match or pay-per-view of the year, but the Rumble, I enjoy the Rumble every year.
Yeah.
The reason it's 90 seconds, intervals to get the superstars in is because of attention span. You watch what's going on with the new guy in the ring.
Was it really 90 seconds?
Not all of
it. Yeah,
it.
That was one of those.
I think it was 45 seconds.
I said that to my buddies too. I'm like, that was 90 seconds. It seemed like 35 seconds, and the next guy came out.
Yeah. By the way, a new record set last night. We mentioned it in Chatosphere, but the new record was set. Santino Marella, 1 second.
Now, see, there's a
Warlord. I love it.
There's a guy that gets beat every week.
Hey, do you think the Warlord was at home like the Miami Dolphins are at home every week going, please break my record, please?
I mean, Santino loses every week. He comes back the following Raw or whatever, and he's more popular, more over than he was the week before.
He's just so damn funny. The guy is so funny. But the second thing was, quickly, with Edge and Christian and the Hardys, do you think, this is just a question,
all right,
and it might be a little far-fetched, but do you think that Christian could come back as a babyface and kind of do what the opposite of what everybody thought, and maybe kind of be in Hardy, Jeff's corner? Well, not necessarily corner, but how Matt turned. And do you think that's possible at all? Maybe have a Edge versus Christian, Hardy versus Hardy WrestleMania?
I think in a perfect world, what you do is you have Christian come back and then give the screw job to Matt Hardy, and then Edge and Christian as the big heels against the Hardy Boys again.
That could very well happen. And I think that's what some of the fans want, don't you think?
Yeah, because, I'd like to see the TIT again.
Terry Invitational?
Yes, the Terry Invitational tournament. I don't know what you were thinking about, but the TIT.
Michigan, which they've had plenty of.
Detroit gets a lot of pay-per-view action.
But 2 years ago they had WrestleMania.
Yeah, we were there.
I was not there.
Detroit, I don't know where they're putting the money because the area around the arena's gorgeous. Hockeytown, USA.
Yep.
You've got Ford Field. You've got Comerica Park. You had the Fox Theater. Go 3 blocks in any direction.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds like the beginning of an LAX theme song.
There you go. There's number 5.
Thank you. All right.
Exactly. Yes.
We got it. We're talking about last night's Royal Rumble. Let's get again to the matches last night. Edge, Jeff Hardy for the WWE Championship, and a little turn at the end.
Well, first of all, I loved the Joker Harvey Two-Face look on Jeff Hardy.
I've been digging it too because you know what? It puts a little bit more emphasis on Jeff Hardy as maybe a main event guy.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see this one coming?
Matt about halfway through the match, I did.
Really, I did not. I did
see,
not see
when I saw Matt Hardy come down the ring with a chair,
yeah,
I'm like, okay, he's gonna cost his brother the match. The babyface never brings a chair down to the ring, even in an ODQ match. Yeah. No reason for it.
Yeah.
We have a new champion, and it's Edge. And we talked about this a couple weeks ago.
Edge is now an 8-time champion, by the way.
Yeah, but there are still some fans out there, and I'm kind of one of them, would like to see Edge just win a clean match, win the title clean.
Why?
Well, when he's
a heel.
When he's a good guy, then he will.
Really?
Yeah.
Frank, you know how wrestling works, right?
Yeah. I know how wrestling works, but I would like to see, I think, when was the last time he's won the championship clean?
I don't think he has.
He hasn't.
But
he's never been a champion as a face.
He comes out, he doesn't have to wrestle, just runs out and pins someone. In this case, he gets help, so he goes in a match. But for me, I'd like to keep his status up here. I like to see him just win.
It's a radio show, by the way, Frank.
Well,
I know.
Understand.
Up here.
When you say up here, not.
Okay.
He didn't say down there. You know.
It's okay. I only need one eye to see anyway.
Wow.
Frank, I'm trying to let you know, Radio 101, it's not a visual thing.
All right.
Okay. Thanks for shooting out my eye.
Usually when I say up here, that means
You guys are getting hot.
Yeah, don't get hot.
All right. Anyway,
I'm not a baby. I'm a man. I am an anchor man.
that's what I like to see Edge win a.
But
heel
Frank,
and
again,
win it clean.
Edge has been a champion heel all 8 times.
Anyway, now we finally get to the Royal Rumble match itself. And we're all looking for that one moment where we're like, I can't believe he's come out or she's come out. You never know.
There's only been one she in the history of the Rumble. And she got eliminated by Austin the year that Austin kept looking at his wrist going, anybody else? Anybody else?
Mae Young was thrown in there.
No. Mae Young was at the Rumble one year and showed her puppies. Well, they more looked like 8 balls stuck in a bunch of wet socks.
We talked about this earlier. For me, I felt the Royal Rumble, you all say it's built around Randy Orton. If you look at the Royal Rumble match, it was built around Triple H. Great Khali comes out. He's beating up 5 guys, all right? And, of course, he throws a bunch of guys out. And then
wait, who threw a bunch of guys out?
Didn't
No. I talked about
Khali was the first guy out.
Yeah,
But,
I talked about that last night with the person I watched it with. There was no major clear out where there usually is, like a Kane or somebody comes in, clears out 2 or 3 guys.
Great Khali comes in, shows his dominance, choke slams, chops to the head, everything. And then comes out Viktor Kozlov, is that right?
Vladimir Kozlov.
Yeah. And he comes in, and now he knocks out the Great Khali, the biggest guy in the company, followed by Triple H,
knocking off Vladimir Kozlov,
who knocks off Vladimir, who had just knocked out the biggest guy in the company, which now makes Triple H the strongest guy in the whole match.
Right.
But, of course, he couldn't beat down Cody Rhodes or Ted DiBiase
Correct.
in the end. But, once again, the Triple H hidden agenda, it's always in there.
Spot of the night, Shelton Benjamin, double DDT.
Yeah.
Really got the fans going.
Shelton Benjamin's bread and butter is going to be April 5th when he's in the Money in the Bank.
Again.
Yeah, well, he needs to win one. I think he needs to win one.
He's not going to get this one this year.
Who's going to win it?
You know what? It's not going to be him.
Okay. It's easy to say he's not going to win.
Well, it's not, who knows when Mr. Kennedy comes back? He's supposed to be cleared in the next couple of weeks. He could be back in that match.
Kennedy's the only Money in the Bank winner that has actually not gone on to win the title.
Yeah, and that was the doctor's fault. The doctor says, hey, you know what, you're going to be out for 6 months, and they had to do something quick, and they should have waited, but, Kenny's just had some bad breaks, literally.
Yeah, no pun intended.
Yes.
414-276-3776, 800-990-3776 are the phone numbers. So we get to 21, 22, 23. I'm waiting. Come on, guys. Now it's going to happen at 30. Something happened at 30. It doesn't. It happens at 25, and out comes RVD.
25.
That's what
I think you said 35. I'm sorry. My bad.
No, you said 25.
What am I going to throw?
My bad. Don't get hot. You already got me bleeding in one eye.
I was surprised to see RVD show up at the Rumble.
Is that a one-time deal?
I don't think it's a one-time deal. Why would he show up to the Rumble if it's a one-time deal?
You know what it is? He
doesn't need the money.
He doesn't need the money. He's doing really well on the Indies tour overseas.
He's got the stores. I mean, he's got the, all
he's
that
doing
stuff.
Great. He's spending time with his wife, and I mean, I'm sure Vince says, hey, you know what? We're going to be in your home state. Here's $25,000. Come out for the pay-per-view, and
work a match.
You think it's that much?
Oh yeah.
Sure.
For one shot?
I think it's more than that.
I'm sure it's more than that.
Yeah.
Wow. That's not a bad deal.
Not at all.
For about 10 minutes.
I mean, and the place popped for him.
Oh, yeah, they went nuts. I was surprised he was there.
But he was the last time we saw him was at the Raw 15, where he came out and beat up Santino Marella.
We see Dolph Ziggler. We see Santino Marella for 1 minute, as you mentioned.
1 second. You going to throw something at me that time for correcting you?
And then Kane even laughs as Santino gets dumped right away. How can you not laugh at the guy? He's great.
Actually, my favorite spot in the Royal Rumble match was when Hornswoggle went back underneath the ring. Taker gave him a back heel kick and said, get the hell out of here. That was hilarious.
Let's head to the phones in Dallas, Texas. We got Sam. Sam here on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, Sam, home of WrestleMania 25. What's going on?
Not much fun. I going to that show, so I'm really happy about that.
Okay, good. Frank and I and Damien and I, we're all looking for a place to stay when we come down there.
Yeah, you can come to my house anytime. I won't give you the address on the bed, but you know. Yeah, I going to sit on the Royal Rumble a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it was a great show. It exceeded my expectations just in terms of, I was kind of surprised at number 30. I'm thinking, who's going to be at number 30? And it was the Big Show. I was like, oh, man, they kind of killed it a little bit. But still, I mean, it was a great match, great Royal Rumble. Happy Randy Orton won it. And the one thing that kind of tripped me out, that one segment with Shawn Michaels and JBL when he was talking, Shawn Michaels, and then he looked, like, turned around, and next thing you know, Undertaker's right there. Hey, that scared me a little bit. I was like, wow.
What did he say? What was the quote? You got to go through to hell to get to heaven?
Yeah, and I was like, oh, crap.
That was a little, that was a little unnerving. You're right. You know, being somebody that's actually, starting to find his way around, that shook me a little.
Yeah, and besides that, then the JBL, John Cena, Shawn Michaels whole little triangle thing, that was just typical Shawn Michaels. You couldn't tell what he was thinking. And when he kicked JBL, I was like, oh, man, he really knocked him out. Because he just had that smack. And I was like, wow. It was amazing. So just appreciate the show, guys.
All right. I'm glad you enjoyed Royal Rumble. Are you you're going to get WrestleMania then? Or actually,
no, he's
going. Are you going to get Armageddon?
No Way Out.
No Way Out, I'm sorry.
I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of the double elimination chamber thing, but
this year they're defending the belts in the elimination chamber. So
yeah, I might just check it out just for that purpose, just to see what John Cena's going to do personally, because I'm pretty sure they're setting up a John Cena Randy Orton WrestleMania match. So just to see what happens.
Hey, what's the drive time from Dallas to Houston?
For me, it's about 4 hours.
Okay, so a normal person that's not speeding. Because I mean, I mistakenly said that you were in the home of WrestleMania 25. I was wrong, and it's actually in Houston, Texas. But I mean, if we're staying at your house, Sam, I mean, I got to know how long it's going to take to get to the show.
Yeah, I got family and friends down there, so they got me some tickets. So I really appreciate it. So just a simple job.
Cool.
Here for 10,
all right, man. Well, again, thank you for calling in.
I appreciate it, man.
Have a good night.
All right, thanks.
Still time for you to call in 414-276-3776, 800-990-3776. When we come back, we'll talk about the Raw that was this evening. Take your phone calls and much, much more. You are listening to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
One of a kind, RVD. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. Thank you, Dragonovsky, if you will, for playing a little Rob Van Dam. Throwing it out to Chatosphere, they looked for RVD. I tried to get Hillbilly Jim. We couldn't find it. So
can't be messing with that country boy.
It was a good song too.
Hillbilly Jim, Al Snow, Jimmy Hart, Greg the Hammer Valentine, and Miss Kitty filmed a pilot for a reality TV show.
What was it called? Is this a joke here?
No, I'm serious. No, and Lanny Poffo as well.
Leapin'
Lanny. Yeah, they were going to do a deal where they were going to be real estate agents in Florida. So it might still get picked up.
I mean, this is recent? This isn't something from the 80s?
No, it's in the past year. It's being shopped around right now.
Wow. Say the list again.
Greg the Hammer Valentine, Hillbilly Jim, Al Snow, Miss Kitty, Jimmy Hart, and Lanny Poffo.
Okay.
That's hot news.
I used to always think it was Lenny, but it's Lanny.
It's Lanny, yeah.
Okay.
Can you imagine going to buy a house and there's Hillbilly Jim waiting for you and Greg Valentine?
I can imagine Greg Valentine being there.
Really?
But not Hillbilly Jim. Al Snow would probably, have Head talk to you.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
For Al Snow and Ed.
Right?
I mean, don't get hot. Huh? Once again, Royal Rumble last night, your winner, Randy Orton. Now, you talked about Triple H having the Rumble built around him, and I disagreed, and I said that Randy Orton, technically, the pay-per-view was built for him because, you started off with the Randy Orton promo in the beginning,
right?
The video. The Triple H thing, that was just to get him to go with Kozlov again, I guess, but They didn't care what they
but
did
it
with
also
Khali.
took 3 guys to beat Triple H.
Right, at the end.
Yeah. How many guys throw Undertaker?
No, you're right.
You know? I mean, and of course, in the end, Triple H, you know, he put over Randy Orton, so he built himself up to make Randy Orton look stronger, but did he really make Randy Orton look stronger when he had 3 guys to help him get out of the ring?
Kind of like when you put belts on guys to kind of bring them up. I don't think Randy Orton needs Triple H to make him look stronger anymore. Randy Orton is Randy Orton. Randy Orton's where he needs to be.
But keep in mind now Triple H is the runner-up, so now he can go and challenge Edge, while Jeff and Matt do their thing.
Yeah, I don't agree with that either. So Rumble's over. Give it a grade: A, B, C, D, E. E being for excrement.
You know what? I'd give it a B. Maybe. Ooh. Well, here's why. It's because considering all the matches we saw, with the exception of the Rumble, we've all seen 1,000 times already.
Yeah.
And they were able to make them all fairly relevant and fresh.
Let me ask you this. How many times in the Royal Rumble last night, this is a number they should count, by the way, how many times did the cat get skinned? Or the
way too many times.
Way too many times. Every guy did it. Even the Big Show did it, didn't he?
I might have. See, and that right there makes what Ricky Steamboat did not that special anymore.
Makes what Shawn Michaels did not that
exactly,
special anymore.
Yes. Kind of like tonight watching Raw.
And that's a great segue, Dave, because we're going to start talking about Raw. The show starts off with Randy Orton coming out with 2 lawyers, I believe, and a therapist.
And of course, Legacy.
Yeah. And he has excitable intensity disorder?
IED, something like that, yeah.
EID or IED or... it was intensity...
It's not EDI.
I don't know. I'm just lost. It was some initials. It wasn't RVD. That's exactly what it was.
So now what they've done is they've just established now that the guy that's been just punting everybody in the head for the past couple of years and
did it because he's mental.
Now he has special needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I don't know about that.
They just made him, from one of the most ruthless bad guys they've had in quite a while to now a guy that's just very emotionally unstable.
Yeah, hearing voices in his head.
Yeah,
and what happened to Rev Theory?
I don't know.
Where'd they go?
I have no clue where they went.
I would have liked to see him. I got to see him. You didn't go to WrestleMania this year.
No.
You ordered that down. Damien and I, we tell the story a couple times already, but we're just standing on the grounds of WWE's WrestleMania Access, hanging out by a stage. We're kind of just, hanging there, looking at the stage. We turn around and we see literally 1,000 people behind us. Don't realize that Rev Theory are about to perform right in front of us. Amazing show. Those guys did real well, and it was a great concert. So the Randy Orton thing. Now, obviously, we're kind of jumping up to the end of the Raw, right around the overrun. Shane McMahon comes out after the whole roster standing on the stage.
Everybody.
Okay.
Well, except for, Shawn Michaels and JBL and John Cena.
Yeah. Well, Jericho was out there, but I don't understand why those guys couldn't have been out there. I mean, it's the whole thing when they have, gauntlet matches where it's just the JOB squad. So they're all on the stage. Here comes Shane McMahon out to avenge his father.
Right.
Are they going to have the Randy Orton-Shane McMahon match at No Way Out? Or are they going to save it for WrestleMania?
They got to have it at No Way Out where Randy just annihilates Shane, which makes him a bigger monster heel going into WrestleMania against John Cena. That's where the money is.
Orton Cena is the money. Actually, Cena was supposed to take Batista this year.
Yes.
But could you buy that? I mean, because Cena's not going to go into a match against Batista at WrestleMania as a heel. So Batista would have had to have been the...
They could both be baby faces. They did that with Undertaker and Batista a couple years ago.
Yeah, but you know what? I was booing Batista.
Right.
Well, actually, I booed the whole match. But, it seems like Batista, when it comes to big-time matches, be it with The Undertaker or be it with, even a John Cena at SummerSlam, he seems to come to work. And he seems to do what he's supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, Batista,
how do you feel about Batista? Don't hold it in. Tell me how you feel.
You know what? He looks great on TV. He's an amazing physical specimen, but he's the kind of guy that should never, ever, ever lose in a wrestling match.
Yeah.
When you look at him, and like when they were going to have CM Punk versus Batista. Well, come on, why even have the match? We all know that in a real fight, with the exception of Booker T, Batista should beat almost everybody.
Right.
You know, I don't know. It just, you know, they just got to build it up where it means more, and they don't do that anymore.
We've talked on this program about sometimes it looks like Batista mails it in, where it just comes down to the ring and spot, and I'm out of here. Cash a check and I'm gone.
He's best buddies with Triple H.
That's terrible.
You know what? Everyone talked about the old clique, you know, Razor,
sure.
Diesel,
sure,
X-Pac, Shawn, and Hunter.
Yeah,
There's
and Kevin.
yeah. Well, Diesel, you know.
Scott
there is a new clique. It's Triple H. It's John Cena. It's Dave Batista, JBL, and Shawn Michaels. It is. Those guys are always in the main events.
It pains me to watch. I mean, honestly, it pains me to watch sometimes. Again, I was so hyped up for the Rumble last night, and I don't want to go backwards and start talking about the Rumble again. I was so hyped up for the Rumble. Fell asleep during the Rumble.
Why?
Because I liked that match. I liked that match. And, you know, and I'm going to ask you about yours in a second. A couple weeks ago, we ran down our top 5 Rumble moments of all time.
Mm-hmm.
My number 1 was actually 2004, I believe was the year. Again, I had it written down. I forgot what year it was. But it was the year Chris Benoit won the Rumble. I was into that match. Man, I was standing watching that match the entire time. And I rooted. I mean, you know, it made me feel like a wrestling fan again, you know, actually caring. I ran off Ric Flair winning the Rumble, obviously, and the belt.
Right.
You know.
The first time Hogan and Warrior hooked up?
Yeah, that's one for you. So give me top 5.
Boy, top 5. You know, I probably won't even get the years right. There's been so many of them. But, you know, for me, probably the top one is Hogan and Warrior, that big clothesline where they, you know, set the stage for WrestleMania 6.
Champion versus champion.
Right. I think Rey Mysterio winning it, that was an emotional one, you know, because of the death of Eddie Guerrero. You know, everyone knew that was going to happen, but it was nice to see. Boy, you know, I don't know. It's hard to say. You know, I'd probably throw in one there. You know, the first one that Austin won. You know, where he you know did the screw job on Bret Hart, and he came in and and there it was just a new attitude, a new era. You know coming through. But there's been a lot of good ones. But for me, it's always Hogan and Warrior. I'm an '80s guy.
You are.
You know.
You are. We're gonna take a timeout. When we come back, more wrestling talk. 540 ESPN Pro Wrestling Report. Country boy, don't go messing with a country boy. Wow.
Classic.
Dave Guerra pulled this out from his car.
Yeah, this is some classic stuff here.
Well, it took us a segment, but we got Hillbilly Jim. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. Hillbilly Jim on the Pro Wrestling Report.
You know, Hillbilly Jim is no longer working for the WWE.
Really? How long was he working for? I mean, I know he was an agent.
Well, he was always the guy that was in charge of the fan access. And let's just say there was a little bit of a falling out between Hillbilly Jim and Johnny Ace at last year's WrestleMania.
Was it because I was standing in front of the stage watching Rev Theory?
No, they actually wanted Hillbilly to get back in the ring.
Really?
And he didn't want to do it. And because he didn't want to do it, he got cut.
That's a shame. Well, he would have probably got cut with all the cuts that they've had last year.
Probably.
So. I mean, they're cut.
How do you cut Sergeant Slaughter?
Yeah, Sergeant Slaughter.
You know, I mean, I don't mind seeing Bob Holly go, but, you know, Val Venus, D'Lo Brown.
But Val Venus wasn't even on TV. What was Val doing? And what was D'Lo doing? What were they doing?
Well, there's a few theories on why D'Lo Brown came back.
Well, expunge. Is that a word? Expunge?
Well, you know, back when
the dictionary's wrong. I'm going to make up my own word.
When Michael P.S. Hayes got a little bit of trouble for some racial remarks.
I forget who it was. Was it Mark Henry? There it was.
It's kind of funny how all of a sudden they bring back D'Lo Brown and Crime Time around that same time and give MVP a little bit of a push. Just got to keep people happy.
So what you're saying is Ron Simmons as champion
There's
could have happened.
politics in wrestling, you know.
Okay. Ron Simmons as champion could have happened.
It could have happened.
How
about that, huh?
Yeah, that's a weird one. Once again, Dave Hero, proprietor of Great Lakes Championship Wrestling, joining us on the Pro Wrestling Report. Damian Nelson unable to make it this week. Frank gets up at 4:30 in the morning, and we sent Frank off. We sent Frank off. So Frank, thank you for hanging out. We're gonna Dave and I are gonna run this. Actually, you know, we're gonna do a little bit of a unique thing here. almost every week. Sometimes we don't get to it, but we play a little
not
game.
Unique if it's every week.
Almost every week. We're going to do a unique twist on it. Almost every week, thanks for interrupting, we do a little game called Beat the Meat, okay, where I have a caller call in, and, I try to stump him with a trivia question. Dave Hero is going to try to stump me with a question. It's time for me to play Beat the Meat. Now, Dave?
You give me what, 5 seconds to think of a question now?
That's okay.
Oh, my
Dave
gosh.
is going to play Beat the Meat. Dave is going to be the host of Beat the Meat. Now, here's what you do, Dave.
Okay.
You ask me, so Meathead, have you ever played Beat the Meat before?
Meathead, have you ever played Beat the Meat before?
I played the home version.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see here. Good, solid wrestling question.
Yeah, it's high tech.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's high tech.
Okay, here you go.
Uh-huh.
And you may even have been at this show, but Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig.
Yes.
When he first came into the WWF back in 1988, I think it was.
Okay.
He wrestled at the Milwaukee WrestleFest, which was headlined by Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan in a steel cage match, along with the Ultimate Warrior versus Bobby the Brain Heenan, when the Warrior was managed by the Crusher. Who did Kurt Hennig defeat?
Kurt Hennig defeat, and I believe the venue was County Stadium.
At County Stadium, yes.
Okay. Kurt Hennig defeated.
Now the match at WrestleFest was the determining factor as who was going to go on to be Mr. Perfect.
Wow. I'd guess it would be Shawn Michaels.
No. It was actually...
You must be on crack.
It was actually Terry Taylor.
Terry Taylor, the Red Rooster?
The Red Rooster. See, look at that. I mean, obviously Kurt Hennig got a better crowd reaction. He goes over on Terry Taylor. Kurt Hennig goes on to become Mr. Perfect, and Terry Taylor goes on to the Red Rooster.
And Terry Taylor really went far with the Red Rooster.
Yeah, well, now he's an agent for TNA Wrestling.
Yeah, and not moving around too well. It looked like he had some issues with the knees, I think.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
See, now, if you would have got the Mr. Perfect DVD, you would have known that.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that wild? Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm.
So, we were talking off air about the Royal Rumble, and again, we're going back to it, but it kind of leads into what we're going to talk about now. It's Triple H. And Dave Hero. Yeah, Triple H. Yeah. Dave Hero has professed over and over in this 2-hour program that the Rumble was actually built around Triple H.
Yes.
Okay.
Made him look super strong.
Made him look super strong. And you've also mentioned that there was the new clique, if you will. Triple H, Batista, Cena, and Umanga. No, I just threw in. I threw in Umanga there. How is it? I guess I'm going to ask you this: how is it that these guys can consistently push around? I mean, I understand. Everybody understands Triple H being able to, get his way because of his family and because of who he's married to and where he is in the business. But how is it that these guys can get to push around the product the way they do? And how is it? And I'm going to have you also go into this as well, that John Cena can have so much hate amongst all the wrestling fans when John Cena, all he does is go out and works.
It's because they pushed John Cena too hard on everybody. They wanted him to be the ultimate white bread babyface. And you know what? The wrestling fans today, they still want that Steve Austin babyface. They want that Rock. They want the Kevin Nash. The guy that's can go either way. And John Cena. I mean, John Cena is marketed more towards the girls and the kids.
Okay. So how is it? I mean, if John Cena is just doing as he's told, how is it that John Cena, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Batista still get to do as they wish? How is it that they get to kind of, I guess, call a win here, call this?
Because they are the hardest working guys in the company.
You call Batista the hardest working guy in the company?
When he's healthy, he does whatever needs to get done. John Cena is on the road nonstop.
Yeah.
He's always doing appearances, Make-A-Wish, whatever he wants, whatever Vince wants, John Cena does. And that's how those guys are rewarded. Yeah.
And it makes me wonder, and again, Dave, you've seen The Wrestler, it makes me wonder, and we're going to segue into that, it makes me wonder how these guys stay sane. How do they keep a family going? How do they keep their lives going? How do they? I mean, they're making all this money and doing all this work, but when do they have time to be a normal human being? And as I said, you've seen the wrestler, and Mickey Rourke, again, a knockout job, portraying the real life of a wrestler and what it's like after you've gone in.
You mean WrestleMania 25 competitor Mickey Rourke?
Yeah, WrestleMania 25 competitor. Dave also believes, by the way, and a lot of us do believe as well after seeing Raw tonight that Mickey Rourke might actually go one-on-one with Chris Jericho.
It's a done deal.
Oh.
Hey, right now with all the press the wrestler's getting, and what's funny is Vince didn't like the movie in the beginning.
Oh, he trashed it.
He hated it.
Because he didn't
he had no money in it. Yeah, exactly. But now he knows all the press it's getting. Let's get Mickey Rourke in the ring. He's in the ring with Chris Jericho, who can take good care of him.
Yeah.
You watch. Your boy Chris Jericho is going to go on one hell of a run right now.
Yeah, Dave was talking about that right before the show as well. They said that now that Chris Jericho is hooked up with Mickey Rourke for the WrestleMania, deal, Jericho's going to win every match except for the
for the Chamber of Horrors match, whatever they want to call it. Yeah.
Chamber of Horrors. Worst elimination chamber, in my opinion, was the one that Goldberg was involved in with Triple H, where everybody, Triple H and his Evolution guys all beat up on Goldberg.
Right.
Why did they put the belt on Goldberg? It's just making me
think
of that.
That's what his contract said.
His contract?
The only reason Goldberg went there was first for the money and also to become the champion. Then he can say he's champion in both companies.
Oh, terrible. You know what? I've got to take a time out. I just can't even think about that anymore.
You're disgusted, aren't you?
I'm disgusted.
I can tell by looking at you.
I threw up in my mouth a little. We're going to take a time. We're going to take a time out, but when we come back, we're going to do some VIP and handle some wrestling business. You're listening to Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. Awful. And I was a Goldberg fan to start with, too.
Yes, you were.
Now, Dragon, I know you played this just to upset me. Was this the WWE or the WCW version? I think the WWE. Yeah. This one was worse.
But it makes me think of the real bald-headed, bad guy.
Gilbert?
Gilbert.
Nah.
I miss Dwayne Gill. We need, he should have been in the Royal Rumble last night.
You know what's sick is I know you have this story too, and I'm just going to tell it from my perspective. For those that don't know the wrestling business, and I'm not saying I do or profess to, but I watched Gilbert pick up a road rat right in front of me. It was disgusting. I was there.
You meant to say a ring rat. If you say road rat, they're thinking roadkill.
Ring rat. Yeah. Yes. She wasn't even attractive.
Hey, you know what though? God bless Dwayne Gill.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was the one that Vince spoke so highly of at the Survivor Series.
Yes.
We were talking off air. By the way, Dave Hero joining us here on the Pro Wrestling Report, 540 ESPN. We were talking off air about Shane McMahon coming out on Raw. And again, we talked about Raw a little bit before, but, he brought up the fact that Shane McMahon came out, took out Legacy.
And Randy Orton.
But Triple H couldn't do it.
Yeah, something that Triple H could not do last night. But Shane McMahon was able to do it.
Dave Hero just said that Triple H was made to look strong. So if Shane McMahon can come out and take out Evolution,
out of the angle. It's a new
Legacy.
Show. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So does that mean Shane McMahon beats all?
Well, yeah, I guess now they can establish Shane as being a tough guy to go and wrestle Randy Orton at No Way Out. You watch. Here's what's going to happen. Next week it'll be Shane McMahon versus Cody Rhodes. And the week after it'll be Shane McMahon versus Ted DiBiase.
Yeah.
And then it'll be a handicap match against both, Legacy and Shane McMahon. And then it'll finally be Shane McMahon against Randy Orton.
With no contact between Orton and McMahon until the match.
I'm sure, something like that.
That's how the matches should be set up. But I guess if he has all those other people that they can mess with Shane McMahon. But Shane McMahon shouldn't be on TV every week either.
Well, he's got to get, the ring rust off.
Shane McMahon shouldn't be in the ring.
He has to get his yearly paycheck.
Shane McMahon shouldn't be in the ring. Here's the problem that I have with Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon comes out, and again, as you just mentioned, he went through Legacy.
Yeah.
Okay.
All three of them.
But all the other boys that work on the show can't.
Right.
So therefore, Shane McMahon, who's supposed to be an office person, now is better than everybody else.
He's tough.
Shane McMahon.
He is the son of the genetic jackhammer.
Okay. Shane McMahon, former European champion, by the way, along with the Mean Street Posse. Shane McMahon can actually, jump from ring post to ring post. even though RVD wasn't allowed to do it in matches, even though it was RVD that did it.
Or how about the time when he wrestled Kurt Angle at King of the Ring?
And went through the glass.
Yes, or the time he took the bump off the
The
500-foot Titantron, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the other boys can't do it, but they're trying to make the boys look strong.
Right.
So how does that work, Dave? You being the owner of a wrestling federation.
They're just trying to establish Shane as a guy that, can be competitive with the Legend Killer, with Randy Orton. I mean, who else are they going to put Randy Orton with right now from now until WrestleMania? Nobody. He's going to beat everybody from now until WrestleMania, so just put him in there with Shane.
I guess, but shouldn't Shane have already been there the whole time then? To maybe build some credibility of his own instead of going through the whole roster?
No. You know what? It's the McMahons. They do whatever they want. Now all three of them are going to get a WrestleMania payday because all three of them are going to be involved in WrestleMania.
Where's Linda? It's WrestleMania 2000 all over again.
I don't think she needs the money.
Oh, you're saying the other three do?
Well, you know what? Whenever you see somebody on the pay-per-view, like WrestleMania last year when they're all dancing together, in the backstage segment, that's how all those people got paid.
Actually, that was 2 years ago, Detroit. That was awesome. I think you're talking about Slick was there.
Yeah, that's right.
In Detroit. Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, that was awesome.
That was great. And that's when Ricky Steamboat came out, when he could finally beat the Dragon again.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, money. Yeah.
Those were good times.
Let's do VI3, Dave. For those that don't know, and for Dave Hero here, VI3, your very important three. It's the top three. Your single competitor, your tag team, and your female. Dave, because you're a guest on our show, I'm going to let you go first. Your very important three started off with singles.
With the single, you got to go Randy Orton. Great Royal Rumble for him. The female, you know what? I'm going to probably have to go with ODB. She's doing a hell of a job down in TNA without Gail Kim. She's kind of taken on, the Knockouts division all on her own. And tag team, I have to go with another, TNA group, Beer Money.
Sorry about your damn luck.
Very impressive team.
That, again, we talked about top 10 entrance songs. That song didn't make mine, but it's an honorable mention.
Yeah.
Because I love that song. Jimmy Hart, I wouldn't doubt, has probably got his hand in on some of that music down there, too. Because it has a Jimmy Hart feel to it. Some of his music sounds a lot similar to his other stuff, but there's some that just hit.
Jimmy Hart's going to be in Milwaukee. Body slams on ice for the Milwaukee Admirals.
Really? That's funny. You mentioned that, Dave.
How about that, huh? Sunday, December 8th, I believe.
December 8th would be at the end of the year.
That's right. February 8th. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It's late. I'm normally in bed sleeping by now. Jimmy Hart, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Tito Santana, Jumpin' Jim Brunzell.
And where can they get more information on this if they forget exactly what you just said?
Well, if they want, they can either go to blizzardbrawl.com or they can go to the Milwaukee Admirals website at milwaukeeadmirals.com.
You know what I miss out on or I missed that we haven't had for a while is the body slams on ice where you had the ring elevated.
That was
over
the best.
I mean, literally, they did the countdown music, and the ring would lower.
And I would pray it wouldn't.
Hockey ring.
I would pray it wouldn't come crashing down on the ice.
Yep. Exactly, as the guys are playing hockey.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite memory from that was actually Road Dogg versus Buff Bagwell.
Yes.
Meathead, timekeeper, sitting around the corner of the ring. And Road Dogg, for some reason, thought that I was the mule that was going to carry him back. So I got big, sweaty, nasty Road Dogg laying on my back as I'm dragging him across the ice. His feet literally just flying across the ice. And then Scotty DeMarc, the ref, finally gets up from his big bump. Hey, that's a good idea. Jumps on my back. And then I have to drag him off, too. Hey, thanks for the ride, Meat.
One of my favorite matches there was when Luna Vachon just pummeled Screech.
Oh, that was a tag match, actually.
Yes, it was Luna and Gangrel against the Blue Meanie.
And Screech.
Yeah. Classic.
Again, being so close to the ring, the only thing I ever heard, and again, I'm not trying to give away too many things, but apparently Gangrel was not happy with it was Gangrel and Luna versus
Screech and Meanie.
Yes. Oh, Meanie was a little stiff with Gangrel.
Oh, really?
Match. Yeah.
Well, you never know with Dave.
Yeah. So, again, any of those shows ever coming back? We ever going to put the ring up?
We're trying. It was always a lot of fun. I mean, we had Big Show versus Mark Henry one year.
Disco versus
Grandmaster Sexy was another one. We've had some really good matches there. So
I remember the time when we still had Right to Censor running around in WWE. We even got Bull Buchanan to come down.
Yes, yeah, we had Ivory versus Tori.
Yeah.
That one year also.
I love Tori.
Yes.
And
Tori
where's Ivory?
Ivory.
Not Tori Wilson. It wasn't Tori Wilson.
No. It was it was the
DX Tori.
DX Tori. Ivory. You know what? Last I heard, she's up living in California. So
really?
She's
living
the dream.
Let her know I miss her, and let her know I miss her tights that had the heart cut out right above the butt.
I'm sure she's on Facebook.
You know, ironically, Meathead is too. I didn't want to give out my name, but Meathead is on.
You know
Facebook
what?
too.
I think some people know your name.
Yeah, well, there's some people in the chat room that keep putting my name up there too. Anyways, my. Thank you, Abe. My VI3 for the week, my single wrestler is going to have to be Randy Orton as well. Great pay-per-view. I mean, he was the Royal Rumble. It was built for him. Again, we disagree on that, but it was built for him. Tag Team of the Week goes out to Yo, Crime Time, because Crime Time got a title match on Raw.
But they lost.
But I don't care. I like seeing Crime Time. They were funny at the Rumble.
They are funny.
Okay.
But they're not good.
I didn't say they were good.
Okay.
I said it's my VI3.
Hey. Yeah,
damn it.
All
it's
right.
my VI3.
It's yours. You're wrong.
And my girl, she wasn't on the show, but Mickie James, where have you been? Baby, I miss you.
Yes. Yeah.
The Tomb Raider, Mickie James, has been my favorite so far. Oh, I'm sorry, I got a little sweaty there. Excuse me.
So, you know, I don't want to jump past the next pay-per-view, but you got Randy Orton versus John Cena.
Okay.
You're gonna have Triple H versus Edge.
Okay.
You're gonna have
that's a WrestleMania main event right there.
Right. You're gonna have Mickey Rourke versus Chris Jericho.
Okay, that's your celebrity tie-in.
You'll probably have Shawn Michaels versus JBL.
Okay. So that's a top card. It's solid.
You know.
As long as the lights stay on at the pay-per-view all night, we'll be good.
You know, where do you put guys like Miz and Morrison?
They're going to be in the Money in the Bank.
You know, they're the MVPs, I think.
No pun intended on MVP.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, without a doubt, I think they are the most...
Yeah, you know, again, the reason that they're on all three shows when they're on Raw, ECW, and SmackDown is because, you know, Miz is greatly improved. I mean, think about how JBL used to run him down week after week because he was awful and he didn't belong on TV. Miz is probably my most improved for 2008.
He's solid.
John Morrison, you know, bedazzles his abs. I used to do that too around my nipples, but that's another story, another show.
That's another show.
That's another show.
Another late night show.
Yeah, that's another Blue Hour special from the Meathead. But you know, John Morrison, phenomenal thing. Wrestler. Every time we say that word, by the way, we owe AJ a nickel.
Okay.
Damien promised him a nickel bag a couple months ago, and it's a bag of nickels.
Gotcha.
Okay. AJ is a Christian boy.
All right.
But you know,
Christian hasn't signed yet.
Christian hasn't signed yet, and I'm still. You guys are all jumping all over the Christian thing.
I'm telling you right now, and here's that word. I guarantee he'll be showing up soon.
Carl loves gimmick, by the way. On this program, Carl Love does all the guarantees and the predictions.
I'm telling you, it's a guarantee. It's Money in the Bank.
Do you want to say that it's a ladder match? I mean, what do you want to say it is?
It's a Money in the Bank ladder match that Christian's
Do you want to say
be
it's a
on.
Steel Asylum? Do you want to say it's a Hell in a Cell?
No. He'll be in the Money in the Bank.
Who's Taker wrestling this year?
Taker? You know what? I have no idea.
He's not going to lose. Right?
It's got to mean something, though. I mean, you know.
There was talk it was supposed to be Taker and HBK.
That'll be HBK's last match. That's not this
WrestleMania
year.
26?
Could be. I mean, it'd be appropriate to be in Texas, where you know Taker's from, Shawn Michaels is from, JBL's from Texas.
What?
Yeah.
Who else is going to be in the Hall of Fame, Dave? As we wrap up the
Hall
show
of
here.
Fame. Well, Terry Funk, Dory Funk are going to be in the Hall of Fame. Of course, there's Steve Austin, there's Bill Watts, and the Von Erich family.
Wow.
It's a Texas Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Booker T too. Hey, we're wrapping it up here. Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. Thank you, everybody, from the chat. Osphere from the forum. Dave Hero, thank you for coming out.
Thank you, Meaty.
It's been a great show. This has been the man they call Meathead and Dave Hero for Frank Cosentino and Damian Nelson. Thank you for listening to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.